Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to share with you an easy recipe for aniseed bread. Aniseed gives the bread a light licorice flavor and complements pepper pot well, so this would be great for Christmas breakfast. To start, I'm going to warm the milk in the microwave. The milk needs to be warm but not hot. If the milk is too hot, it will kill the yeast. I'm going to heat the milk at 30-second increments, and it took about a minute to get it to the temperature that I need it to be. Next, I'm going to place it into a mixing bowl, and I'm also going to add sugar. The sugar helps the yeast to activate. Next, I'm going to add the yeast, and I'm using active dry yeast. I'm just going to stir this around and then let the yeast sit for about 10 minutes until it looks like this. Then it's ready. If the yeast doesn't look like that, then it's not good and you need to start a new batch. I store my yeast in the fridge, and that way it lasts longer. You can also freeze yeast for up to 2 years. To the yeast mixture, I've added all-purpose flour, and then I'm going to add aniseed, melted butter, and salt. Next, I'm going to knead this using the dough hook on my stand-up mixer. Now, if you don't have a stand-up mixer, you're going to have to do this by hand. I have the Cuisinart. I get a lot of questions on my mixer and I absolutely love it. I've had it for 12 years and it's still going strong. Once the dough has kneaded for about 10 minutes and it's come together and it looks like this, I'm going to place it onto the counter and just knead it for an additional minute or two just to get it into a nice smooth ball before placing it into a greased bowl. And you can see the flecks of aniseed all throughout the dough. So I'm going to place this into the bowl and cover it, and I like to keep this in a warm place. Usually I put it on my stove that's been warming and let it rise for about 45 minutes to an hour before punching it down. I'm going to place the dough onto the counter and knead it for about 30 seconds. I am going to be braiding it, so I will need 3 equal pieces. So I will cut the dough into 3 equal pieces. And you can just pretty much eyeball it. Some people do use a scale to weigh it to make sure all the pieces are equal in size, but this is homemade bread. It's going to be rustic and that's just fine. Next, I'm going to roll each of those pieces out into like a log because you need 3 strands to braid it. And I'm just gently rolling it from the center all the way out to the ends. Now, you don't want these to be too skinny, so be mindful of that as you roll. And I'm just rolling these out to the same length and thickness. Now that we have all 3 strands, it's time to braid, and I'm starting from the middle, and then you cross them over all the way into the ends, which you are going to press together and tuck under, and then you're going to go to the other side, but this time you're going to braid under until you get to the ends and then press and tuck under. Now you can bake this the way in which I am going to bake it, which is in a greased loaf pan, but you can also just bake this on a sheet pan. Now I'm going to cover it loosely using cling wrap and allow this to rise for a second time for about 35 minutes. This is what the bread looks like after 35 minutes. It's increased, it filled up that pan, and I'm going to remove the cling wrap and then place this into an oven that's been preheated. And this is what the bread is going to look like when it's done. It's going to be golden brown. When you tap on it, it's going to sound a bit hollow, and I'm just slathering the top with melted butter. One of my favorite scents is the smell of homemade bread. It is the best. Once it's cooled for a few minutes, I'm going to remove it from the pan. Look at that crust. It's perfectly cooked, and it's just time to dig in. If you have not made homemade bread, you are seriously missing out. I hope you try this bread this Christmas, and if you do, be sure to share with me over on Instagram at Jehan Cook. Thank you for joining me. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.